let's start an any percent episode intermission speedrun, aka Yuffie percent. 3, 2, 1, go. Alright, right off the bat, we fight 4 fights, and at the end of each of them, Yuffie will do a little victory dance. And we can avoid that by not having her main weapon, the shuriken, in hand, and running at the end of the fight. So you'll see it here. We're gonna damage these rats, do this to knock one back, and kill the other. If he's too weak, we're gonna see the thing. So that's the little victory dance we were trying to avoid. We wanted it to be on him doing damage while we were already here. The other way to skip them, which is a little more random, but it's what I go for, is just spam the run button while the battle ends. There, we got it, unfortunately. And I'm going to do the spam it method for the remainder fights, because otherwise, the rats are a very simple setup. The remainder don't have, I think, as good of setups, and like you're just kind of losing time by setting it up. I rather just hope that I get the skip. So the Drake is right above. We're going to do our windstorm right then. Oh. Okay, normally this one skips. Oh my god, really? Oh, 3 out of 3. Let's see if we can get the last one to skip. It's far more forgiving in the last 2 battles, for whatever reason. But here we're going to do a save and load, which is after we hit the switch, the elevator slowly comes down. But if we save the game and then load it, it skips that essentially, because it just puts us in like the state that the game is in, which is that the elevator is down. There's 2 other instances of this to skip dialogue, but they're very short time saves. And one, you have to avoid, you basically don't buy thunder, and I like to buy the thunder, so I'm not gonna do it anymore. Alright, let's see if we can get the skip. Just spamming the run button. Okay, there, we skipped it that time. That is the most forgiving one. That one usually just skips by itself. So before the next fight, we don't have to avoid victory dances anymore. Yuffie's combat works by she has a shuriken, and she can either throw it or melee attack with it. If she throws it, it'll stick to her target and just do like damage every half second. And while it's out, if you're doing her basic attack, she'll cast Ninja Jitsu, which is like a ranged magic attack. You can set the element of it with an ability that her default weapon has, and we've already learned it in these first fights. So I've been using Ice Jitsu a few times, and from now on I'll use Thunder the next times I do use it. And the biggest thing is she has an ability called Windstorm, and when you have it in melee range, it like sucks in enemies around her and does some mediocre damage, but at range, it focuses on where the shuriken is and does a ton of damage. So it's like the biggest move in this game. So this fight, we block him. He will always respond there with the headbutt. I missed the perfect block on that headbutt, but I got it on the first one. But you perfect block the first one, and then stagger him, and then respond to what the second one is doing. In that case, normally he doesn't headbutt, but he did there, so it was a little slower. Ideally, he just like walks at you slowly and you damage him, and then you range windstorm and kill them both in a single one. Another method to fight them is you immediately melee attack the first one, and then they respond with a throat clamp, which is a move that like holds you in place as they bite you. You can perfect block it, but it's harder and much riskier because if you get hit, you're stuck in that bind for a while. So I don't go with that method.
Okay. That rotten egg smell's gone. Must have gotten used to it. The way things are going, I'll be working for
And now we have a decent break until the next fight. But we will be doing Fort Condor, the single instance of it in this run. Fort Condor is like the mini game of this game. It's essentially Clash Royale. You and your opponent have a board. You have 3 bases, 1 main base, 2 mini ones. You have a deck of units you can use and you have like a hand of 4 at any given time. And when you use them, they start shuffling.
What exactly is a W anyway?
Anyone who lives where you just came from.
The guy we're fighting, Polk, has very weak units. So all we do really is send a guard dog, which is the strongest and fastest unit, but it only attacks bases. We just send one of those out, and then we essentially protect it, so it kills his whole base. Well, his mini base and then main base. And there's some intricacies to it. And we want it to be in our first hand, which is a 2 out of 3 chance. Because we start with 6 units and you have a hand of 4. If it's the last unit, you just lose 10 seconds guaranteed. Second to last is still a time loss, but bearable.
Yes, I'll whoop you so
For my benefit then.
So here we are. Spam through a bunch of menus. And let's see where our wolf is. Our guard dog. It is the first to last. That is a little unfortunate. So the strat we do is immediately we have some magic. We have fire and heal, so we can cast fire. We're waiting for 5 ATB because we need that to be able to cast the Grenader and the dog. Because we want the dog to push the Grenader, and we also need the Grenader to protect the dog from these units. The dog will only attack the base. That's what we want. So now these guys are busy with him, and the dog needs anything to hit this base to increase the damage. So you just spawn any unit there, and the main base dies before it can even attack the dog twice, as long as one other unit hits it.
Damn.
you mean
In there, that's done. Now we're done with Polk.
Well,
Now it's a lot of text mashing for a while
material?
that's right.
Whatever.
and slow walking. Now we go over here to Billy Bob. He tells us about
And where is
the Shinra building and Chadley's VR missions. He is the most boring of these 3. This is all he does in the entire game. At least Polk, you get to play him in Fort Condor. But Polk is also done.
Hardly ever. So what do you say?
I really don't. Just
If you ever feel like some
Alright, now we go to Neo.
you must be tired.
Neo, I forget what she actually says in this first part. Just something about weapons. And then she tells us about the Slurping Turtle. Oh, sorry, not Slurping Turtle. That's a restaurant near me.
Just be careful.
Happy Turtle.
Sonon's still not. What's Walmart? Let's just say
A Wu Tai guy who kind of runs a bar, but not really. And he just has posters. I guess what these 3 are doing is giving us the side quest for the chapter.
I don't know where you did.
Play Fort Condor, do Chadley's VR mission, and collect Happy Turtle posters.
People call him, and he doesn't. Might be from. I gotta find him.
But we're not doing any of those, because this is any
All
percent.
this talking's giving me
We
a
do have to go
headache.
talk to the turtle guy
Maybe
and
some
Chadley,
time.
though, to advance
I
the
won't
story.
stop you. Just don't go too far, okay?
And we will see Neo again in our walk and talk segment of the game. If you played Final Fantasy VII Remake, you know there's a lot of slow walking and talking behind
Nope.
NPCs as dialogue goes on.
The rules, and you'll learn. Sadly, some have even.
Bummer.
But hey, by
So at least, unlike the first 2 Avalanche members, Neo gets some characterization in this. Then there's the 4th one. We actually saw him. He led us to the building. And he is who we chase, essentially, in the second half of this chapter.
Searching for candidates. She seems.
Hey,
Chadley.
My name is Chad.
I'm Yuffie. So,
Combat. Very
Yep.
well then.
Does a little dance, tell you his conversation's over, and we move on.
Back by now.
Now we're gonna go meet Sonnen, our teammate of the game. Unlike the base game, we can never control him. Sorry, cat just popped by. We can never control him. But we can still command him, like you can command your teammates in the base game. And there's a synergy in this game. Also, I guess, by the way, that purple chest is a weapon. It's Yuffie's boomerang. It is her magic weapon. But we're not going to pick it up because the extra magic damage is never worth it. Sadly. It has a very good ability. It has a dodge that makes you invincible and gives you ATB. But it's still not worth picking up for a speedrun.
There's no way to get topside without him. But I thought
But
TJ was
we're going
getting
to see...
our high
So as
heat.
I was saying,
What happened
Sonnen...
with that? He is,
The
but those are
gimmick
different.
of this
It takes
game
more than
is
one
you can
ID
press
or even
L2
two to survive in
and you'll
this
go
town.
into synergy
Don't
mode,
forget, Midgar was
which
built
is
by
like
Shinra
Yuffie and
before
Sonon will
Shinra.
synergize together.
Tyrants.
So he'll essentially mimic what Yuffie is doing in his own way. So when you have the shuriken out, you're doing ranged attacks. He'll shoot little like ranged magic balls as well.
So Yuffie,
if you're melee, he'll just be next to you also doing melee. And the biggest thing is in synergy mode is when enemies get the most pressure. Or I guess fill their pressure bar or stagger bar. I always forget what it's called. But like in the base game, you do like focus attacks to do that. Yuffie does not have a focus attack. How you stagger enemies is through synergized melee attacks and ranged attacks, depending on the enemy. The very first ones we're going to see, we do melee attack, which is a bunch of like dive kick, ninja hopping, bunny hopping, whatever you want to call it.
Sorry.
And
What's up? Those guys there
the other
are from
way is,
Splinter Cell.
you've probably
Splinter Cell?
seen it,
They
but
used
you
to be
didn't
the
know.
Lynch, but
The
left
ranged
after
attack
Alice
is a
Speed.
3-hit combo, but you can cancel it by pressing guard, so you can just lose all the, you know, cooldown and just spam the attacks. And you can also, you don't have to finish, you can just do like 1-2 guard, 1-2 guard. And that is, like Sonon's 1-2 of his synergized range attack do a lot of pressure. So we see that in a few fights as well. And then the next synergy thing is Windstorm, as I said, is the range attack. It's very good. And then there is Art of War, which is her like melee ability where she just does a bunch of slashes. And in synergy mode, you get synergized Art of War, which is our biggest nuke. We use it a lot. And synergized Windstorm, which is how you is a staggered damage increasing move. So it's used in several boss fights.
In other words, you're working with
We
us,
menu
you don't
here
work with
because
your
there's
own buddies.
story dialogue,
Knowing what would
and it doesn't
happen
actually
if we
stop
did.
us. Or I'm sorry, we shop there. We do menu after this though. We upgrade our weapons and we move materia around and set hotkeys. It's the biggest menu. It's very small though, comparatively to the base game. So we do that. We swap their their accessories, because Yuffie starts with an accessory that doubles AP on any what's it called? Sorry, I shouldn't be doing this while menuing. Sorry, she starts with an accessory that doubles the AP on any materia on the accessory, which is like experience for materia.
Not only, but
And
we proved
Sonon
that just
starts with First Strike, which gives you ATB at the start of the battle. So we give him the Ninja Armlet, so it gets more AP, because it's a very good thing we want to level up quickly. Here we're going to do Deadly Dodge until they're all pressured. Wow, none of them are cooperating. Okay, there we go. Now we swap to Synergy and do our little dive kicks until they're all staggered. And then Synergy Art of War to nuke them all down. Now they slowly get up, and then we skip a cutscene.
So who were those creeps anyway? Don Corneo's talent scouts.
Those guys are a very, probably the most random fight, in the sense that like
I thought it looked
sometimes
safe.
that first
Guess
Deadly
you'd have to be
Dodge
a scumbag to
will
build a place like
stagger all of them,
Oh,
and sometimes it takes 5 or however many I just did.
Scouting the area.
Deadly Dodge is when you dodge and attack at the same time, by the way. I'm going to say it a few more times. It's a materia, but we never take it off. It's not a default ability. And here we're picking up an accessory called Kindred Bond. It makes synergized abilities, you know, Art of War and Windstorm, refund half their cost. So we're going to put it on Sonnen, and basically that means he'll only ever need a bar and a half at any given time,
You need us to hurry. I don't like the sound of this.
which is useful specifically for the second half. Or it's useful because as we can't control him, we can't make him get ATB in any real way until later in the game.
More like mutant.
Ooh, I'm so gonna use that. Almost there.
And we, as I said, Synergized, Art of War, and Windstorm are very strong abilities, and we like to use them a lot. But sometimes you can't because he won't have ATB.
We might not be back for a while.
But the
Best to stock up before we-
Kindred Bond makes that much more manageable.
whatever it was, he probably did it for us.
Later, we do get a materia that allows us essentially to do an attack that will give Sonon ATB. But that takes time, so Kindred Bond is still very much needed. On the right there is Sonon's melee, or best physical weapon, but Sonon doesn't really do a lot. I don't care about that. Sonon's damage mostly comes from the synergy materia, which there's a lot of synergy in this game. Synergy materia is when you link a spell to the synergy materia, that AI character will cast that spell when you use an ability. So right now he has fire, and basically all his damage comes from him using synergy casting spells. Alright, these guys, we do 3 of these, so I caught them in enough. If there's anyone left, Synergy Fire would finish him off, but that was not needed. We'll see Synergy Fire in the next fight, because it's going to be what finishes off the guard. We're going to fight 2 guards, we're going to deadly dodge them, and perfect block the stronger guard's melee attack. And then ranged windstorm him, and that will finish them all off through AoE and Synergy Fire. Luckily he swings twice, so you get 2 chances. There we go. Now, I could have thread that needle. We have to throw our shuriken to open a gate, and those boxes will block the shuriken. If you ever get your shuriken blocked by an obstacle, you get a little tutorial for that, so that's like 2 seconds, 3 seconds lost, so we try to avoid that for the whole run. You can throw between the boxes, but I wasn't quite sure if the throwing would be available, so I didn't try, and I just waited, you know, the half second till it was completely open. Here we have a little break, we're on a conveyor belt. There are some boxes to break that can give you items, but they're random and not necessary.
She's a local, remember?
There's a much longer conveyor belt with many more boxes at the end of the chapter. That's where you get most of our like healing items. That's why we never have to shop or anything.
I just kind of assumed no one in Avalanche could be trusted. Like they were all the same.
Given you also start with Cure, which I forgot.
I can imagine.
And since we're on rails right now, we just wait. But we have plenty of time to cast. Because when you cast healing or use items outside of battle, there's an animation. So you rarely ever do it. You never do it with the character you're controlling if you're trying to actually move. You can make your AI teammates do it, and then you don't have to stop. Alright, here we're going to try and perfect guard him several times. When you perfect guard him in synergy mode, or when you perfect guard in synergy mode, he'll cast Twirling Lunge, which adds up to, increases the pressure bar. There we go. And now we cast Synergy Art of War, and it's not gonna kill, but wait, I got mixed up. But the Windstorm will kill once I'm done. Parrying is faster than running, so I wanted to parry as far as I could to the entrance. But I got my camera mixed up because he did 2 dashes, which is really uncommon. We just picked up Steel Reaper, Yuffie's strongest physical weapon, and physical is usually much more important, so we grab that. Another guard, same thing. Oh. The fire's gonna kill. I'm gonna get as closer to this way because I'm going this way. From this point on, Yuffie's actually super healthy. From this point on, we want Yuffie to always be at max health, because when we killed that Cripshaw, the guy I was perfect guarding, the monster, not the human, he gave us an accessory called the Gozu Drive, which increases our damage based on our current health. So if you're at 100% health, you get 50% more damage, and if you're at like 1% health, you get 0% more damage. So we basically always want Yuffie to be full health. Sometimes, you know, mid-fight you can't really control it, but in between battles we keep Yuffie as healed up as we can. And we obviously have to equip it, and also upgrade the new weapon we're about to equip. So increase that. We have to put that amulet on, or that armor on, to activate the accessory. So I was saying about how you can't give Sona an ATB, this is like the biggest part of it. I want to cast Windstorm and Synergy Art of War to finish this guy off. Hold on. Oh, I messed up. It's gonna be fine. But the first time he was pressured, Sonon does not have enough ATB to cast both of these abilities. So I purposely don't stagger him until the second time, because I want to one-shot him, because that guy runs around a lot. I unfortunately messed up my timing a bit, and I was not in synergy mode already doing the melee attack to increase his pressure bar, because the dog does not stay pressured for very long. All right, we're coming up to 2 wolves. Hold on. See, Yuffie's not full health, so we should fix that. Hopefully I get a headbutt. I did not, but it's not a huge deal. What we're gonna do now is do Synergy Art of War to just hit them both. Now we're much stronger, they just die.
So what'd you think? Isn't that just awesome?
I did not need to run all the way up to it, but it took a really long time for me till it allowed me to actually throw the shuriken. Here's, I guess, a little platforming segment. We throw a shuriken to move these grates or whatever, and lets us run along them. There's an elemental materia, which is a linked materia that could increase your basic attack DPS. It only takes like 30 seconds to grab, but that's not worth it in the speed run. It also takes a lot of AP to level up. Like, even casually, you probably won't level it up until New Game Plus. Get Yuffie to max health to make sure we have maximum damage, and now we fight this guy. We're gonna get a Synergy Art of War as soon as possible, and then try and kill him pretty quick after, but while also moving, because he will pick up a rock and like use it as a shield, and that reduces damage. So if basically we allow that to happen, we're gonna lose a bit of damage. So now, parry to the exit. He's gonna follow us. Now I'm just trying to get ATB to cast Windstorm, and fire will kill us. He gave us the Mizu Drive, if you happen to catch that on the screen. Mizu Drive is like the Gozu Drive, but it works with MP, and it works the other way. So we want to have 0 MP to have 50% more damage, and you'll have no extra damage if you have full MP. I used that just before the second to last boss, because by that point we don't need to cast spells anymore, and it's easily controllable how much MP you have. You can always use Cure before battles to keep yourself as low as possible, and you regain mana during battles, but really slow. But mid-battle, you know, you could be getting hit. And every time you get hit, you will do less damage, thus making the fight even harder. So I switched to the Mizu Drive to keep it controllable. And here's the, as I mentioned it before, there's another conveyor belt that's much longer and with a lot of boxes. This is where you get a lot of your like high potions for the run. Just gonna do some curing. We don't need to cast any spells. Generally, I never get many items out of these big boxes on the left, and there are these obstacles on the way. So if I throw and accidentally hit an obstacle, I have to see a tutorial and I'll just lose time. So I just don't even bother anymore with attacking the ones on the left. The items you get out of the large boxes and the small boxes are random. These very large boxes give you set items. The most important ones are the very first one we broke, the middle one on this right one, and the left one on this left one. The first one and this left one give you elixirs, which are just full heals. And this one gives you 3 mega potions, which are the largest, which is like 1500 health in an item. Really, we're probably never going to use them. They're good for in between if you don't have time to spam a bunch of high potions, or I guess if you are in mid battle and you're desperate and about to die, then you can use those for healing. But hopefully you never have to heal mid-battle, because that takes time, and we don't want to spend time doing things that aren't advancing us towards the end.
Up ahead. Building just screams important.
So we got our full health. We're ready to fight the boss of this chapter. It's listed as a centipede on my splits, but it's called Gigantipede. So I'm pretty close. The first phase is pretty boring. It follows a set path, and it will do like 1 attack on it. I don't actually know fully what it does, because you never see it. We immediately pressure it, and damage lock it, and move it on to its next phase. There is a trick to speed that up, in that if you pressure it very quickly, It walks forward and does a move called tail swipe, but you can pressure it before it even gets to the tail swipe. And that saves you some amount of time, like however long the swipe is, so 5 seconds, give or take. I have to do some materia swapping. Now Yuffie gets first strike, and we swap Synergy Fire to Synergy Lightning on Sonnen. Because in Chapter 2, basically everything is weak to lightning. So the gimmick on this guy is his head is weak to physical, and the tail is weak to thunder. The thunder never really comes into play. Well, okay, he is weak himself to thunder, but his head blocks the thunder. The very last phase, you knock off the head, and then we do hit it with lightning. Well, a lightning attack, not thunder. So there, we pressured him before tail swipe, we damage locked him. Now I want to get out of his way, because I don't want to take damage. Sonnen does not have a lot of ATB. You don't need to heal Yuffie here. You have enough damage even without a full Gozu drive. But I do like to heal her if Sonnen had 2 ATB. He doesn't though, and I don't want to risk him not having ATB to finish off the last phase. So yeah, the guy went on rails left. He comes back up over here. You can throw this right after the head pops out, and it will reach if you're at the very edge and do some damage. It will return just in time so you can throw it again at these things that come out. If you don't instantly... What? Oh, that's bad. Alright. So, I whiffed, apparently. So now, we're going to have a bit of a mess here. But we have to kill these things, and then he'll move on. And I accidentally used ATB, so I have to build it up. Alright. He's basically going to instantly pressure, and this will push him into the last phase. Sonnen, sadly, does not have ATB, because I used it to heal and use Art of War there. So I'm going to be missing a Thunder, so this last little kill will take a moment. Because what we do here normally is use Banishment, which is the Steel Reaper's ability. It gets stronger the more abilities you use through the fight. That was actually not much longer. But it gets stronger the more abilities you use throughout the fight. It starts as Banishment 1, levels up to Banishment 2 after 3 abilities, and levels up to Banishment 3 at 6. And it takes the element of your Jitsu, so that's why I cast Thunder Jitsu, even though I never attacked the tail. Because I want Banishment to be lightning element, so it does max damage to the head, or the drill, after the head pops off. Weimer always calls you over here, you can't avoid him. This is for the turtle side quest.
So, do you think Nio and the others got away?
We can worry about that once we have, boss.
Weimer distracted me. I was talking about Banishment. Yeah, so that was a max level Banishment from all the abilities we used before, and it did like 6,000 damage. We'll see the move one more time on Scarlet, or the Crimson Mare, technically, in the next chapter. So we're done with Chapter 1. We are now entering Chapter 2. Now we're in Shinra's headquarters, in their underground weapons lab, trying to steal the ultimate materia. This is a decent wait, because we're going to enter this room. There's going to be like a minute of dialogue, and then fight start.
Just look at this place. Weapons here.
Nothing really to do here. I like to try and break every box before we're no longer allowed to, or I guess before the fight start.
Unlike my old man,
It rarely does anything for you. Like, at most, I've gotten 3 high potions.
never understand. Behind bars, you mean?
But it's that or wait, so we'll do that.
Good on them.
What's going to happen here is we fight 3 battles. We start with a sweeper that we're actually heading towards.
Not exactly my favorite.
Like, he's over there.
It's only gonna make me mad. More important.
And then 2 mono drives show up later, and then we fight the drones you can see in the top right and just behind Yuffie. and then 2 that will spawn on this side of the arena. We start this one by thundering the sweeper so he will pressure himself, and then waiting for some slug rays behind him to come down and die to a windstorm.
How you like this? Need some backup?
Got it. You're in for a shock.
Do your worst.
I don't think I can make it. I was trying to get him pressured before I cast that windstorm, but those slug rays will do what it's luminous ray. It's basically an attack that stuns you, and I have to cast the windstorm before they do that. So this is a really easy fight. We just wait for these mono drives to spawn, just do an attack or 2 to get ATB, and then they die to windstorm.
Man, I hate these
Oh, I had so little ATB. That was like the minimum you can have. Now in this one, yeah, these 2 mechs, those 2 mechs, and 2 spawn behind us.
What? There's
Start by targeting these 2, and they both should die to a windstorm. A ranged windstorm. Then we throw on the left ones, and we attack with synergy in the back. And repeat, essentially.
bruising for a bruising.
Alright,
Wanna beg for
so
mercy?
throw there. But I got hit out of the throw.
Get your butt over here.
Now synergy, these guys. Hopefully those 2 are still near each other. Nope,
Loyal minion.
that was unfortunate. Basically, we'll have to use 1 extra ATB in this fight.
At least put up a fight. Blood and thunder. Get lost.
This is it.
Sorry, but I got a pulse.
We had to use, yeah, 1 extra ATB because they both didn't die to a windstorm there. We come to this corner because we were trying to get Sonon over here to... We're going to knock down the crate above us and come this way. And Sonon's pretty slow about getting into position, so I try to get him into position.
Pain in the ass getting up there.
I was too close. I'm going to hit the obstacle, and here's the tutorial I was trying to avoid.
There we go.
At least like, Sonon stayed close.
Now then, Sonon, how you feel about giving
Because sometimes he'll be back here, and like, he'll have just now gotten onto the crate. Now he's going to make a little thing. We don't... Luckily, if you're just standing there, you automatically enter it, so you don't have to walk forward. This game's not very good about, like,
Get to climbing.
micro movement. So it's very easy to accidentally just run right past him into the wall, and then it's hard to, like, get back into position. Because you actually have to walk into him.
Materia, where are you?
Alright, we got another fight here. This one's really simple. It's just 2 ranged windstorms, essentially.
Time to flee. You're in for a shock. That's all you got.
Get lost.
Just watch them to make sure if they're going to attack you or not, so you can guard it. You can save and load here to skip this dialogue that's about to start.
Talk about hitting the
But,
jackpot. This must be where
like,
they make their materia.
It's like frame perfect to save you anytime, so I'm not even going to bother.
After I grab a few souvenirs.
We do this, and here is, I mentioned it before, Ninja Cannonball. It's a materia that lets us... basically, Sonon will throw Yuffie, and that gives Sonon like 2/3 of a ATB
Is
bar.
that a security grate or a ladder? Thanks, Shinra.
So like now that he doesn't have first strike, he basically just never has ATB unless we use
Not even a whiff of materia up here.
Ninja Cannonball. So the times we want him to have it, we pop that out. Alright, this is the only fight we can flee in the entire speedrun.
I sent him.
Synergy melee attack is the fastest you can go, but it's really wonky, and it likes to send you backwards, so I only use 2 there. Heal up Yuffie to full. Equip Ninja Cannonball. It doesn't matter who you put it on, but Sonon has more slots. Now we throw this. Now we're going to do 2 Ninja Cannonballs to get the ATB. I'm going to avoid this, and I'm actually going to wait a second for him to dash. Because he always dashes, and he can dash and avoid the big hit at the end, and that would lose us a lot of time. Now these guys, you have to kill them twice. They're armored, and then they come out, and then you can kill them. They come out, they eject, which is also like self-destructing at like 70% health left, give or take. You used to be able to kill them in armor, and the other guy wouldn't pop out. But as of in the base game, but in Intergrade, they changed it so they will always pop out. They'll just damage lock at 1 HP. Now we have a very simple fight here. We just move into position so melee windstorm hits everything, except this one guy who we abuse synergy, so he'll cast thunder and kill him. Because it doesn't really matter what you target with the attack, it's whatever you're aiming at. Or, I'm sorry, it doesn't matter what you hit with the attack, whatever you're targeting is who the synergy will be cast on. A silly thing is like, there's a materia called assess, which is basically like just scanning the enemy and getting information about them. If you have synergy, like you'll scan them and then he'll still do synergy fire. If you ever do a 100% run, which involves scanning everything, that is actually useful. Alright, here we're fighting 2 armors. We want to kill the purple one first, because his attacks are more dangerous. Well, not really kill. We just want to, you know, pop him out of his armor. Sadly, I got hit by that, so I'm going to lose some... Now we're getting out of the way, because they deject, and that's also a giant AoE attack. Thunder. The other one's weak to thunder, so... Hopefully this hits them both, but I'm not really looking where they are. Did not. That was a little sloppy. I didn't position well, so I got like camera locked and I couldn't really see what was happening. Alright, what do we got? I'm gonna need an ether on Yuffie. I need 22 MP for one fight. We'll throw a high potion. Actually, no, we won't. We won't bother. So now, after the 22 MP on the second fight coming up, I want Yuffie to be as low MP as possible. So I use Cure in between fights to keep her drained. And luckily, in between all these next fights, there's you're stuck on one of these little platforms, so there's plenty of time to do it. In fact, let's just throw a Cure out. And in several fights, Sonon's basically guaranteed to take damage. So you'll usually have a target to drain yourself. So these first guys, range windstorm basically kills them, then you just have to clean up their damage. Unless one of them dashes instantly, then the range windstorm will miss. He dashed instantly, but not fast enough. Then they put on shields to be immune to certain types of damage. He's immune to physical because it's a clear shield, so we just cast Thundara. I forgot, so I actually need to use another ether. I forgot I used, like, you're not guaranteed to use magic in this fight, but it can happen. So now I need another ether. I can't do math. So that'll be 23. We're good. He probably takes damage on this one, but if not, then second to last will hurt him. So here we use the synergy attack to get him high pressured and staggered. And then double Thundara to kill him. Oh, my ATB didn't go up very well, so sadly he's going to survive past the stagger bar and we'll have to finish him off with a little more attacks. No biggie. Alright, Sana did not get targeted, so we didn't take any damage, but I can't cast Cure at this point anyway. I'm at 2. So basically now every time you gain a little bit of MP per fight, so every time I'm at 4 or more, I just use Cure in between fights to keep myself low. Except for one fight, no, I guess 2 fights. You always have a moment to cast Cure without losing time because they're in some sort of forced travel moment or forced waiting.
So what you think? Aren't I just awesome?
I wait till after the moth unit here to menu because that's just what I'm used to. Every time you press pause, if you leave your weapons have essentially experience or skill points, and every time you press pause, if you have them set to automatically update, they'll update like frame 1 of pause. And new abilities unlock over time, so like there are set times to pause to get the best abilities, and I don't actually fully remember them. But when I pause as normally, like this moth unit might level me up. I don't quite remember at the moment, so I just wait till after. He never hits me, so it's not like I'm not going to be low HP and I need the Mizu drive for damage. This guy, when you use an electric move on him, he puts his blades away, but you can damage him so fast that he basically never gets to attack. Now we put on the Mizu drive and we swap Sonnen back to fire because this next guy is resistant to thunder. The next boss we fight, we specifically want his fire to do damage to a human enemy in it, even though the boss itself is weak to lightning. And then after that, it doesn't matter what he does, really. So we have to wait for him to get to the corner so that doesn't get dodged. It did anyway, I mistimed. If an enemy dodges the throw, the shuriken, if you don't like instantly cast Windstorm, it will basically fizzle out and become useless. He's gonna pressure very soon. There we go. And now we do the range thing to get him up real fast. Because if he, at the end of that pressure, it's quite short, and at the end of it, he will put up a shield that you can only attack from behind, but it's like not well made. So it's basically he just takes reduced damage from everywhere. Alright, so next we're about to fight Scarlet, who's been mocking us a few times in this run. She's piloting a mech called Crimson Mare. She herself is weak, so like and when you knock her out, the mech will become pressured, and then you can stagger it. So the fight is to basically knock her out, pressure the mech, instantly stagger it, and then attack the mech. There's 2 phases. You can only do 50% damage in both, so you have to do both. You can't just one-shot the mech. And avoid attacks, essentially, but they're not that hard. Luckily, it instantly starts targeting her, so we just instantly target her, switch to Lightning Jutsu, because the mech itself is weak to lightning, as I said. Now we try and perfect block the charge, and we did. Now there. Oh, I messed up a bit, no biggie. It's going to take a little bit longer to do the ninja hops, because I started with that as an aerial attack. I messed up. Okay, I have to do a ninja cannonball to fix this damage I'm not doing. Alright, this next phase is going to be a little bit unfortunate. Basically, she's not going to die in the stagger more than likely, so I'm just going to have to like smack her around a bit post-stagger. She pulls out these big guns that you can block this. I failed. And when she completely whiffs, you can't stop blocking because that happens. But I perfect guarded that one. Now she's going to do the spread shot, but you're too far back if you do it this way to get hit, so you just ignore her. Now she's going to get knocked out on this. Once the fire comes out. We do this, we do our Windstorm to increase stagger damage. We get some of this. I'm not quite there. There we go. And now it's going to die. There we go. Now we're off to fight some deep ground soldiers. They can go invisible if you like get in melee range. So there's a method to make them not do it. Stir this, go into synergy, run away, throw again, do melee. Sadly, sometimes they don't group up, so the ranged Windstorm isn't hitting them. I'm going to give them a little bit more time to group up, but it looks like they won't. Roll away a little more. Okay, these two are next to each other. This should kill them. There we go. Now we got pushed into this little VR room, so we have to do a bunch of VR fights. The first 3 are pretty simple. This one they should just die, unless they happen to get out of range, but they didn't. Use Cure, because I have to wait in between, and do some... Just get them at max at this point. I'll leave Sonnen a little low. These 2 guys usually aren't a problem, but they can be, because they don't die very fast. But hopefully they just group up, or they just get near each other. And then... Up. They didn't. I thought that one was going to move, so we're just going to keep attacking and try and get them next to each other. That one got pressured, the other didn't. But they're going to die. Okay. Even when it goes poorly, generally you're done in 3 ATB casts regardless. Next fight is just... The only thing is, it's 3 human enemies spawn. They're really weak, but they're invulnerable for like 5 seconds. So like here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, ideally I can get the ranged one there. Now we're fighting the projector itself. It's gonna spawn this like devil boss. You have to kill the devil boss before you can actually damage the projector. The projector will get staggered after the devil boss dies, and if you don't kill it in its stagger, it will spawn the boss again. Luckily, it's fairly easy if you have ATB to... Oh, hold on. Alright, so what we do is we get this, cast AoE Art of War on the arm and body. When the arm dies, you can stagger the body. We stagger the body, we cast Art of War, and now we just kind of sit and slowly attack it. Sanan got his bar, that's all we need. We just need him to have a bar, so we can cast Windstorm. Cast Windstorm, and then Art of War will kill it. Yeah, if you don't... It was very close. Okay, it wasn't close, but the time was technically close to ending. And if it was not dead, it would have spawned. It becomes invincible again, and it spawns a new enemy or a new devil boss. Full heal, and now we're on our way to the final boss. We're about to fight Nero from Dirge of Cerberus. Basically, you use ranged Windstorm to interrupt most of his like actions, pressure him. Okay, he's gonna do 1, 2. I have to throw another. Oh, hold on, I just have to watch him. All right, I messed it up a little. I had to make sure he was doing an action so he doesn't block the range Windstorm, so he gets pressured. He generally stays pressured for a very long time. Now I just damage him up. I kind of messed it up, but no biggie. Throw that out. Now we're in phase 2. We want to stagger. We have 3 phases. We want to stagger him in each of them. So we have limit break, because you get like 30-ish% limit break per stagger, and then you're guaranteed to take a little bit of damage, and that gives you, and damage also gives you limit break. And at the very end, he'll spawn some wings, and if you limit break the wings, you basically kill him. Even if you don't outright kill him, he'll be staggered, and he'll have like a sliver of health. So the game's over at that point. So now we're waiting for the next phase. He's gonna start by doing some ability. There's two you can interrupt. 3 you can't. He's probably gonna do haste, is his most common one, but let's see. Basically you just wait and then interrupt when you can. That's how you generally deal with the first 2 phases.
Where were we?
Okay, he just moved. Alright, dodge that, cast stagger with our dive kicks. Get a little bit of ATB there because we want to do this to damage cap him essentially, or to get as much damage as possible so he'll go into next phase right away. Now I want to have 2 ATB going into the 3rd phase, because what we want to do, he's far more random in this last phase, and generally if you instantly cast Synergy Art of War, he'll always start by teleporting. And generally he'll teleport directly to the middle.
This is bad.
And you can't be targeted during the teleport. So generally, you cast Synergy Art of War, it should hit him wherever he lands, and either pressure him or the fire after pressures him. And then a ranged Windstorm will extend the pressure, and then he'll get staggered and you'll be done with the fight, essentially. See now the... yeah, the Art of War itself didn't stagger him, but Synergy Fire afterwards did. Alright, I just need a bit more ATB for one of these. I just need to get enough to... One more hit will damage cap him. There. Now I just wait, essentially. He's going to do Dark Matter, then he's going to spawn Abyssal Wings, I believe they're called. And then you limit break, target the wings, and if he's damage capped, and you have a decent bit of accessory damage, he will die. There they are. Limit break, target wings, There's a chance he actually instantly teleports and this misses, but it did not. Boom. And Nero is defeated. Alright, and that is the Yuffie percent run. Takes about 50 minutes. There's quite a bit of cutscenes. I like to end it on his like actual defeat here. I'm not gonna watch the whole thing. Oh, that was it. There we go. Then there's another one because we want to see the sadness. And that was a decent run. Obviously slow, but I was competing against my PB, which is fairly fast at the moment. Alright, and thank you.